Dr. Baker. And then beneath there are myself as the social worker supervisor, and then we have a clinical counseling supervisor as well. We do individual therapy, group therapy, family therapy. We have an anger management program. Most our clients come in totally voluntarily, or they're referred by family, or they just feel they need some help. The anger management program also has people that are referred by the courts. As you know, oftentimes people are referred to that program. But lots of people just come in and say, hey, I need some help. It's a self-referral program. So if you feel you need some help or you know anybody, you can always call us up. The number's in the handouts. And we will go over the insurance with you. We're strictly fee-for-service. So we take insurances, mostly Maryland Medicaid and also Medicare, and then some select private insurances. They're not very, we're still trying to figure that one out a little better. So we took more at some point and then they stepped back. I don't know. We use all evidence-based practice methods, meaning those are methods that have been researched and have been shown to work. Some of us, so we see anybody, we see somebody from, I don't feel good, something's off, I don't feel right, just some stress, maybe they lost a loved one or undergoing some changes in their lives, we have the military base here, so we see veterans. So from just stress-related things that just life throws us and how to deal with that, we see that all the way up to chronic, severe, and persistent mental illnesses, such as schizophrenia, major depressive disorder. We see a lot of people with trauma disorders, and two of the clinicians, I'm one of them, practice a treatment method that's called EMDR, eye movement reprocessing method that's really been proven to be one of the only things that helps with trauma, especially PTSD. So we're pretty good on that too. Like I mentioned, we have interns, and they're all in master's programs, so they're allowed to see people. They have a bachelor's degree, and they see their clients under our supervision, and they also co-lead the anger management groups. We also have medication management services, so that's where the psychiatrist comes in, and we also have a psychiatric nurse practitioner that's like a nurse who can write medications. And we're always looking for more doctors, so if you see any running around, please capture them for us, because Southern Maryland, for some reason, is not very attractive to them. I think it's money-wise. We're a state agency. Most people think we're county, but we're not. We're a state agency living in a county building, so it's really interesting relationship. So the state pays what the state pays, and a lot of psychiatrists come with a lot of student loans and such things, and it's very difficult for them to come down here. There's a loan repayment program, so we're trying to be more competitive. We didn't score horribly high because the argument always is we're still a suburban area, which, as those of you who live here know, that's a big term for Charles County. We have Waldorf and the suburbia type here, and then we have the more rural areas where we're very underserved in psychiatry. So we do get people, and for a while we were closed down for psychiatric evaluations. We're now open for that again. And people get in, get their medications, and then we do recommend that everybody sees a counselor too. So everybody kind of has that person they're connected to. Because sadly, nowadays, the way it goes in psychiatry is the doctor gives you your medication and sees you for maybe 20 minutes if you're lucky. And that's because we're run by insurance. It's a business, and we're fee-for-service. That's how we're alive, by insurance paying us. So like when you see your doctor and you kind of wish you could tell him more, probably sometimes. And they're like, no, gotta go, next one. Sadly, that's how it is with us too sometimes. But then you have your counselor, and the average sessions are from 45 minutes to an hour. So, and you can always get in touch with them. It's very easy to get in. You can always call right now we're open for intakes again. Again, it shows how limited mental health services are in the county, that we had to kind of close down intakes for a minute because we had a staffing issue. That's resolved now. So that's what we do. And one of the questions that people ask, well, when do I need mental health services, or how do I know somebody needs mental health services? And the big signs to look for is basically when somebody's just not the way they used to be. That's kind of like what's going on. When people lose interest, they stop going to family functions, They stop being involved in their community activities, things like that. So then you kind of want to see what's happening. And there's still a lot of stigma connected to mental health, sadly. We have a lot of people where we're trying to get the family involved, because as a social worker, our big thing is you don't live in a fishbowl. We want to hear from your family. And they're like, nah, no, we don't want to let anybody know that we're coming. And so there's still a lot of stigma. And that's one of our reasons we do events like this, to reach out and say, hey, this is just a part of you being you. We used to look at, your mental health and physical health and emotional health and spiritual, all divided, but now it's all one, really. That's what we know. We're kind of all one. There's not these segments. So so just look out for each other. Another way to combat stigma is kind of watch how we speak about things. There's terms we kind of throw around. The young kids, I see it all the time, crazy and gay and this and that. And I mean, those are things that the way we speak are pretty powerful. I work with a lot of younger people that struggle with, for instance, maybe the sexuality, and they're like, I can't come out because there's this word and everybody uses. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So if we just kind of mindful of how we speak about things and how we address. Another big one is when people say, well, my relatives, they drive me crazy. I'm just so depressed. But they're saying, what do you have to be depressed about? You have a nice house and a nice family maybe. And depression is not necessarily about something to be depressed about. There's a big part of depression is chemical. So there's a big hereditary aspect. Usually for depression, bipolar disorder, that kind of, we see a lot of connection, how a family member might suffer. And then there's always something can happen, and then people suddenly find themselves depressed. And usually what we say is look for that 2-week window. Somebody's not quite right, they're isolating, they're not coming to stuff. And they've been doing it for about 2 weeks. Maybe we should encourage them to get some help. And now you have another resource to kind of put out there. We also, part of our division is the substance use services. And they have a lot of programs as well. So if there's, it's so connected. I'm kind of glad all this got combined, because usually people use substances because of something. It's a coping mechanism gone very wrong. And like you mentioned, there's the, opioid overdose epidemic almost that's going on. And by the way, we also provide Narcan training at the health department. So any community member, I think it's on Mondays and Thursdays at 8:30. So you can call up the health department, don't get the exact time, I don't want to lie. But anybody can get Narcan trained and have their little pouch for the nasal injections. We also, through the Core Service Agency, which is a division of the health department, provide what's called mental health first aid. And that's a really good program where just like, you learn first aid, how to bandage a finger or maybe give some CPR or something. This teaches you strategies to recognize a mental health emergency and how to get people help. If you do have somebody in the family that maybe says they don't want to live anymore, they want to kill themselves, kind of threaten suicide, always take that seriously. Some people say, well, somebody might be trying to get attention. It doesn't matter. Maybe they are trying to get attention. Maybe they're trying to get help. I always tell people, look at a mental health emergency just like you would a physical emergency. And the way you do that, you go to the emergency room, to a hospital. Like if you bust your head open, you wouldn't necessarily sit in your doctor's waiting room. You'd go to the ER. And so we do send people to the ER sometimes, when it's absolutely necessary. So that's kind of the different ways to just look at mental health and help eradicate the stigma for yourself. And part of what you can do, to stay healthy, is to find ways to manage your stress. And stress can be totally different from person to person. Be with your loved ones. Look out for isolation when you want to pull back. Be involved in community events. A big part of wellness is your spirituality, your beliefs. That it's totally individual. Some people have organized religions. Some people are more spiritual. But that's a big part of wellness as well. And then your physical health. It kind of goes back and forth. If you're physically not well, you're probably not going to be mentally all that chipper either. And on the other hand, if you suffer from depression, you're probably going to stop eating, you're not sleeping, you eat too much or you sleep too much. And so it all goes back and forth. So nutrition is very important. One of the first things I talk to my clients about is, well, what do you put in your body? That's important. Do you smoke? Do you drink? What are the substances you use? And then we'll go from there, because that's very important. I send people to the doctor routinely. Have your vitamin D checked. It's another thing, like if you come out of the winter, and it's a winter like last year where it hangs on, you might be low in vitamin D. And that's all that's wrong with you. So you think you're horribly depressed or anxious, and you come to me, I'm like, call your doctor. Let's get that checked out. So that's a big part, too. We have some events coming up. September is Suicide Awareness Month. And I know the town actually here, it starts, I believe, it's the Suicide Walk Out of the Dark. That's this coming Saturday, I believe. I don't have flyers for that, but if you go online and you just enter Charles County Suicide Walk, it'll pop up. And it is this Saturday from 10, and it starts right here. We also, the health department sponsors a recovery walk, and that takes place on September 24th, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., and that one starts at the health department and then walks up here on the Indian Head Trail. So hopefully on a nice September day, sun shining, that can be a good thing to be involved in. And that's all I have. So if anybody has any questions, comments.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. And everyone cheer up. But I think we need to be aware that people are stressed.
Absolutely.
And mental illness can manifest itself in different ways. So just be aware of your neighbors and know that there are agencies available to help.
Yeah, and just call. And it's totally confidential. We're governed by confidentiality laws, obviously. So, I know this is a small county, smaller than I ever thought. I run into people all the time, but it's confidential, and it's your thing. Nobody can access your stuff. Some people are scared because we're government, especially if people deal with some kind of paranoia or some part of their illness. And we assure them, yeah, we're government, but we all have licenses that we kind of like, so we work for you. So, all right. Well, thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on, presentations, recognitions, resolutions, ordinances, and petitions. We have none of those. We have no unfinished business, no new business, and then on to miscellaneous. Events that we have coming up, there will be no Parks and Rec Committee meeting in September, no Environmental Sustainability Committee meeting in September. The Village Green Flea Market will be through October 29th, no market on September 10th. Out of the Darkness Community Walk will be this Saturday, September 10th, starting at 9 a.m. The 10th Annual Town of Indian Head Car Show and Veterans Recognition Day will be Sunday, September 11th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm really looking forward to that one. Community Activities Committee will be, committee meeting will be Tuesday, September 13th, 7 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion. The next Indian Head Business Association will be Wednesday, September 14th, 8:30 a.m. at Dale Smokehouse. Planning Commission meeting will be Wednesday, September 21st, 7 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion. The next Mayor's Youth Advisory Team meeting will be Thursday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. And we're actually hosting our elections to elect our team captains. So we have 6 candidates and 3 potential team captain spots for the team. So if you know any youth, get them to come out and vote. I'd love to see them there. Our next Town Council work session will be Wednesday, September 28th, 3:30 p.m. at Town Hall. And our next town meeting will be Monday, October 3rd, 7:30 p.m. right here in the Village Green Pavilion. All right, moving on to citizens' comments. If you would like to speak, please go to the podium, state your name, and go for it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Barry Pickett. My dad had talked to one of the top managers at Harris Teeter. They are open for expansion, which would be ideal for this area as a grocery store, and as it is serving 3 purposes. Grocery store, they also have a farmer's market inside the store, and then they also have a Starbucks inside the store as well.
Do you have the manager's contact information by any chance?
I don't have it right now because my dad is in California right now because he just lost his brother recently, unexpectedly. And he's going to be gone for at least 2 weeks because he got to take care of his stuff right now. But he was telling me go to their website,
Okay.
harristeeter.com,
Yeah, I know about the form that you can submit via that. I was just wondering if you had any inside connections, because I've done the form thing and I have not gotten a response from them. However, if you have inside connections in any way possible, please forward me that information.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Also, Silver Diner is also open for expansion as well for its restaurant. That'd be ideal for this area also because it has, not only has a regular menu, various types of foods, but it also has a vegan menu, that a lot of people have been requesting, across the country. And a lot of restaurants don't have a vegan menu along with the regular menu as well. So that will, that'll cover the bases as well. As far as, the restaurant's concerned, another idea restaurant be good in this area is Boston Market would be good also. Yeah, so, and I also have a list I'm gonna get right past to you. It has different $20 diners, $20 and under or over, and I have an educational list too. I'm a pass to you, pass to you as well.
All righty. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Always good to see you.
Hi, my name's Kritika Oli, and I'm a 7th grader at General Smallwood Middle School, and I'm a member of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Team. I have a few things to say. Honorable Mayor and members of the Council, I would like to thank you for starting the Mayor's Youth Advisory Team. I feel that the Mayor's Youth Advisory Team really helps the younger citizens of Indian Head express how we feel and how we can further help our town. Mayat teaches leadership skills as well as how we can help our town. During our last meeting, we talked about how we don't really have water fountains or hand sanitizers in our portable bathrooms. I know that these changes don't happen overnight, but I believe they are reasonable requests that can quickly implement so that our sport activities in the Charlie Wright Park function more smoothly. I would like to have a copy of this memo entered for the record and would like to hand this request to our town manager, Mr. Ryan Hicks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please give her a round of applause.
My name is Jim Hudnall. I'm from the Occidental Bicycle and Trail Club, and I'm here to say thank you several times. First, thank you to everybody in town for putting up with all the cyclists that were here yesterday. We had almost 1,000 cyclists registered yesterday for the 16th annual Southern Maryland Century, the Indian Head 100. We certainly appreciate the town letting us use this facility for our check-in and use the village green for the picnic. Now, those new picnic tables are really nice. Thank you for those. We didn't have to call for your help, but we were glad you were there to the EMS and fire department. So I have a few tokens of thank you. Don't forget Curtis. He helped us park all those cars that were here yesterday. So Curtis, if you can come up, Mayor, Chief. You can come up too. First, just T-shirts for Curtis and the mayor,
Thank you.
and then a little something else for the fire department, and something for the town.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Oh, yes.
Two more things I wanted to speak about, I forgot. I know, as we understand it, the bank is closing pretty soon. Okay, what we can do is two banks that, Industrial Bank of Washington can fit that as a smaller bank. That would be ideal for that building. It's called Industrial Bank of Washington. B. Doyle Mitchell's the owner, because, that would be ideal for that area, because that's, their banks are about the same size as that current PNC location. And another one too, another thing we can add along with that in that same you can add that in that same location, therefore the building won't be vacant since it's already idea for, banking purposes. But we can also add is Navy Federal Credit Union also.
We have spoken to Navy Federal when Bank of America closed,
Uh-huh.
and Brandon, our mayor, has since spoken to Navy Federal again. So you want to run the list on who you've spoken to?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, this long list. I've talked to TND, Maryland Partners Bank, Community Bank. Also talked to Navy Federal, their location on the naval facility. I've talked to Bay Bank, which is a Eastern Shore kind of regional bank, as well as I'm forgetting one. But it'll come to me. It was a larger bank, but I have yet to get a response from them yet. But yeah, we're putting feeders out there to different locations because I am under the assumption that once PNC closes its doors, they will put that building up on the market. So we're definitely trying to put feeders out there to let banks know about that location and that its previous use was a bank. So it'd be move-in ready and it's modernized. So I'm putting feeders out there, and I've talked to quite a bunch of people to try to get something rolling, as well as talking to PNC people to try to alleviate a lot of the pain in them leaving, and trying to really convince them otherwise as well. So that's the current status on that.
Okay, also, the seniors have brought up, I told her I'd bring it up in a meeting about having a line dance class, for Indian Head as well.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, and also, it's possible we can get a red box, since we don't have a theater in this area, see if we can get a red box.
Alrighty. Noted.